Hey guys, it's me. The topic of this video today is who are you? So let's bear with me. It's gonna be a long journey, okay? Hope you have time for this. I am me. You know, when you go into the bathroom and you look at yourself in the mirror, who is there? That's you. So that's me. But who am I? And that's the game. That's the purpose. That discovery of who am I is the basis of the rule of the game, one of the bases of the rule of the game. So imagine this concept. You're hanging out with your friends and you're all chatting, and it's time to go to school. But it's not the school you think it is. It's called the Great Simulation. It's a center in the middle of everything, like the tower that stands tall. And it's a center. You go there, you first, okay, this is, bear with me, you graduated multiple levels to be able to qualify for the Great Simulation. So congratulations, you made it. Many of you, most of you, have played this simulation multiple times. Why? How? Because once you go to the center and you have your friends, your buddies, you chat with them, right? And you all decide, okay, I'm going to go again. You're going to go again? Yeah, let's go together. Let's see if we can find each other. Oh man, that would be so cool. Some of you do. I'm getting goosebumps. So then you decide to go into the center. You clock in and you imagine now something like Avatar or something like The Matrix. You go there and you lay, but you don't have a body. You know what I mean? You go there and you go to this simulation. You get plugged in to the simulation. You sign the waivers or whatever. And then once you're in, you start the simulation. And before anything, there's a construct. If any of you have ever played like RPG games, this is what I'm talking about. So you choose your race or what you want to be, because you graduated to be human. So you choose your race, and you can choose whatever race you want. And then you choose your physical attributes, which are immensely adaptable once you're here. And then you choose your gender. And when you choose your gender, you have two options, but multiple subsets. So when you choose your gender, your character appears as the gender you chose, as the previous option you chose, your race, and all that. So the multiple subsets that you can choose from, let's say you choose male, but then you have multiple subsets of male that you chose. And then you can choose female and multiple subsets of female too. And these subsets are what create the extravagance that we see in people regarding their sexuality, the plethora of possibilities and choices and options, because there are subsets. And there is no right or wrong. It's just because this version of the simulation has only two options for gender, but a whole host of subsets for each gender. So, and then once you start playing the game, you realize that, I think I made a bad choice. Not a bad choice, there's no bad choice, but I've been like male for so long. I really want to try the other side. I chose wrong. And that's okay too. You can choose to change that class during the game. You follow? So then, the gist of the game is for you to produce points. This is the part of the game, the simulation that you're playing. You need to produce points and energy. And how many points you get is related to how much you discovered of the options that you once chose that you wanted to experience. You want me to say that again? So you get points in the simulation by how many of the options and subsets that you once chose you discover during your game. Because once you get uploaded into the game, you forget everything. And you see, the game is a very elegant simulation because we are bound by all the constructs, all the constraints. So even if we give it a starship and we get to the speed of light, we get to travel 200 billion years to get somewhere. What? Because it's a standalone system. It was designed to be a simulation that you chose to be in, and you just have to be there. You just have to like discover and produce energy. And how do you produce energy? And that's the whole basis of the Church of the Simulation, is you transmute your energy through your emotions. And that's the quest. And those are the rules of the game. And once in a while, you end up bumping into one of your friends who's also playing the game. You know them. And this time around, they have a different shell. They chose to be a dog. And you have this connection to this dog. He's your friend. And your friend is part of you. So you found each other. And you found each other, him playing the game, him or her, or it playing the game with whatever options he chose. I'm saying he because it's a placeholder. But you see? So then you play the game and you produce energy and you collect points. And once you leave the simulation, you have bragging rights for how much you discovered of your own self and your own choices that you made before you logged in to the simulation. And the energy that you produce via your emotions. And that's why there are no wrong emotions. There's no wrong emotions. You just have to feel it. Feel everything, because the more intense you feel an emotion, the more energy you're transmuting. You're getting more bragging rights. Imagine the little thing on the top of the screen. That's how much energy you produced. And here's the catch. Once you log in and you choose your options, you choose your lineage, you can choose part of a simulation that you were once playing to either continue playing that simulation with those constraints or start a new one, create something different. That's why, okay, the complexity is you can choose the level of the game you're going to play. And boy, let me tell you, if you are mentally challenged, that's a tough game to play. But you chose to play it. If you are an athlete, you chose to play it that way. You feel the call to that. That's why you practice, because it makes you flow energy. The energy that you are, the energy of the choices that you're here to discover that you made. And you can choose on that initial construct, you can choose whatever option you can fathom to experience. But then we can focus on how do you find more of yourself. Well, you find more of yourself by the things that make you flow energy. And thus you discover what your class is, because we have, and right now I'm just going to focus on these two because I only got so much information. So you can choose the warrior class, and you can choose the mage class. And and this is funny because I just found out today that I am actually a hybrid between a warrior and a mage. So I'm a battle mage. And that was phenomenal. I'm getting goosebumps. You see? So what you chose is what flows your energy here so you can discover that. And people who choose, uh, let's say, to experience some physical challenges or some illness, that's all part of the game. That's all part of the bragging rights you're going to get for collecting all the points you're going to find out the hard way. You follow? Because you chose to. You choose the difficulty level of the game you want to play. So, if life is hard for you, because that's the level of the game you're playing, and you can choose the level, and you can change the level mid-game. You can. Just like you can change your inclination because of the choices you made. Let's say you chose to play an easy game, but the subsets of that easy game you chose and the construct that you chose to belong to, because once you choose to come to the simulation, you have to have an entry point. And the only way to have an entry point is to have a mother and a father. I'm getting goosebumps again. And that entry point defines, in a way, the path, the, the probabilistic plethora of paths you're going to be offered to take to find out the original configuration of the choices you made to come here. It's the quest to finding yourself. So, I'm going to give you a moment just for you to digest this, because think about it. And I can only speak about the classes that I was made from, which is the warrior class and the mage class, because that is my point of consciousness right now. I can only see that. I cannot claim that I know what another class is like, because they chose that and I didn't, and I forgot everything when I came here so I could find out who I am. And what do you do once you find the things that you're here to discover about yourself? Well, that's bragging rights for you. The more you know of who you are is the discovery of who's playing the game, which is you. You just forgot about it. You see? And the construct is perfect. The construct is perfect. We can't get out, we can't escape, and we can create anything. And that's why the phrase, whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring itself to believe in, it can achieve. Of course, because it's part of the construct. You have free playing rights to do anything in the discovery of who you are. And some of you get to the point where you find out most of who you are, mostly. And some of you find not so much, because you're too bound to the elements that brought you here in the first place, which you chose the potentiality based on the DNA lineage of your father and your mother. And that's the only entry point, guys. Sorry, LGBTQ community. The only entry point is to have a male and a female engaged in the portal creation. So I'm having a hard time holding my phone. Engaged in the portal of creation. And that's where we're going to go deeper, pun intended, go deeper in the subject is, what is this portal of creation? It's the only way that you can enter the simulation, create a spot for the simulation. So there are people out there, out of the matrix. Remember the construct that I spoke in the beginning? There are people that are waiting for a spot to open up. And that spot that's going to open up is going to have a subset of things that one carries in their DNA that they have been experiencing. So in a way, you're kind of continuing someone else's game, but it's your new game based on their construct. You have complete freedom to choose whatever you want once you're here. But your entry point by default and the probabilistic paths that you're going to take are defined by your point of origin, which is your mom and your dad. But once you get here, you can change your DNA to be whatever you want. You don't have to follow the path that they were following, because they each were only half of the whole. And once they joined and merged in the portal, they allowed your consciousness to be planted into this new point of life that is permeating the matrix and existing as a new point that is going to generate points and transmute energy. And the energy you transmute is the energy that powers the simulation. We're battery cells, yeah, in a way. But there's more to it. It's a gross understatement. So, you follow? I don't know if you made it this far. I don't know if you're with me. If I lost you, please rewatch the video as many times as you need. In my next video, I want to talk about sex and how you discover of who you are via the portal, because the portal is the only way you can bring forth more consciousness. And here's the catch. The consciousness that you're bringing, it's singular in itself, but it's collective as a whole. So it's part of you too. And you are part of the consciousness that once were your parents, that once were your grandparents, that once was your family lineage, and the energy as a whole, because your friends, they are part of your consciousness too. The ones that are also playing the game, that you found each other here, one as a dog, one as a human, one as a horse, one as a dolphin. You've seen videos of cats and horses. Like, how do you explain that? They found each other on their each individual respective classes. And that's really cool. That's bragging rights, right? Once you get out of the simulation, you guys are going to grab a beer together and celebrate and rack up the points and see how many points you made. And just wait for another turn to do it again. To play the simulation, to run one more time. To be in addition to the creation that's expanding. You power the whole creation. You power the whole simulation. That's why you're here. You're expanding the simulation with your thoughts, with your energy, and with your discovery of who you are.